Hello, hello. How is everybody? Hopefully, you guys are doing good. We are going to get started on the third part of the four-piece series. So, it's been a good thing so far, and I'm super happy about it. So, hopefully, we'll have people jump on. Hello, hello. All right, we're going to get people hopping on. Um, so I'll wait just a second because I always start talking before people start hopping on. So if you hop on, make sure you share. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Raven Woods, and I'm the CEO and founder of Autism Mama Rocks the IEP. And I help parents gain the knowledge and the confidence to become the CEO of their IEP meeting. So we are on the third part of the four-part series. And we started off with talking about how to determine measurable goals. We went on to step-by-step procedures, determining measurable and annual goals. And now we were in the third part, and we were talking about determining evaluative criteria. We're going to talk about determining evaluation procedures, determining our evaluation schedules to measure the student's progress, and kind of end with me going over again how you can write pretty good SMART goals, okay, for your children. And really how to determine progress, okay? Thank you, Tina. So that's kind of important, right? Because if your child's not making progress, then FAPE is not being provided. Okay, so if you're looking back and you're saying, thank you, Anita. If you're looking back and you're saying, you know, my child's in 7th grade and they are on a 2nd grade level, or they're in, you know, going into 9th grade and they're on a 2nd grade level, then you know that FAPE hasn't been provided somewhere along the way, right? And so, you know, when you look at that as parents, thank you, Nicolette. As parents, we look at that and we say, okay, this is a big deal. You know, my child's behind. This is not okay. What's going on, right? So the problem with this is not just the fact that your child's behind. You know, you have to get to the bottom of it, not, you know, kind of stick with where your child is right now, because you can't change that yet until you get to the bottom of it, right? So your child's not making progress, so what do you do, right? So we're going to talk about that today. So hi guys, how are you? So we have Tina and Anita and Nicolette. Thank you guys for sharing. And Amy, welcome. And Kim, Logie, hello, Michelle. All right, so post a 1 below if you're new to catching me live. That's your first through third time. After that, you guys are oldie but goodies, and then you're going to post a 2 below. So 1 below if it's your first through third time, a 2 below if you're an oldie but goodie. Okay? We want to get to know you. And if you're not part of the group, you're more than welcome to put in the search bar Autism Mama Rocks IEP group and join the group. All right? So enough about all that kind of stuff. We're going to talk about determining the evaluative criteria. Okay? So evaluative criteria is basically how to identify over a period of time how your student is performing. So what period of time your child must perform a behavior, a goal, etc., to consider how it's met, to consider how it is mastered, etc. All right, so that's kind of determining the evaluative criteria, which is for how long. That's your time limit in the SMART goal. Okay, so when you're evaluating, it's the same thing as goals, because you're evaluating if they have mastered that goal, right? So you need to make sure that the time and the amount is very clear, just like you want the frequency. We talked about this a little bit in the last series. Number 2 is clear. The frequency would be where, if you watched my last series, number 2, you would know that frequency is when I say 9 out of 10 trials. Okay, so in your goals, there has to be a number. And many goals that I have personally seen in IEPs that I've been working on, I just say 3 out of 4 times, or 4 out of 5 trials, or and 3 out of 4, 4 out of 5, that's nothing. Anybody can do that. So do you want to know that your child really mastered something, or do you want to know if your child actually memorized something? Okay, so you got to ask yourself that question. The duration is for how long, and so that's a time, a number, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, etc. And then you have distance, which is very rare. All right, so just kind of ignore that. And then you have accuracy. So that's when I always say 90% accuracy for a mastered goal. So for your short-term objectives, you'll have like 60, 70, and 80. And then by the end of the year, the 90. Make sense? All right, so we're going to move on. And the period of skill, okay, or time of the skill or behavior must occur, and it could be measured in terms of number of days, number of weeks, and occasions. So remember the last time we were on here, my nose is like all itchy. Ugh, sorry. So remember when we were last on here and we were talking about in series 2, we were talking about for how long, and I said to you guys, you know, you can actually decide that yourself. You don't have to allow the school to decide that, because you're part of the team and you're allowed to say, no, I don't think that's going to be where my child is actually going to master something. My child needs to do it 9 out of 10 times at 90% over like 60 to 90 days to really get it. Some children can do it over 2 weeks, 30 days, etc. to really get it. So you need to really think about what that's going to look like for your child. All right, so when you're looking at your goals, make sure you have all of these types of things in place, because that is what makes a SMART goal. You have to have how many times, which is the frequency. You have to have the duration for how long, and that can be a minute, you know, like 15 minutes, 20 minutes, etc. But you don't always have to have a duration, okay? But you do want to have an accuracy, which is 90%, 70, 80, etc. And you want to have for a period of time. So it doesn't have to be a duration, all right? If it's not a duration, you still have to have a period of time in which that goal is going to be mastered, okay? So if in your goal, I'll just give you an example. If in your goal it says, and I think I said this before, Sarah will write complete sentences with the correct punctuation 9 out of 10 times, or in 9 out of 10 trials, same thing. All right. So you can say 9 out of 10 times or in 9 out of 10 trials. It's the same darn thing, guys. Just it's a matter of semantics. Okay. So then in 9 out of 10 trials, okay, at 90% accuracy over a period of 60 days, as measured by report data collection, and because it's writing, and written work by August 2021. Do you see how it's specific to what she has to do? It's measurable because you know how many trials, you know what the time is in which it's going to be accomplished and mastered, and you know the time limit of when it has to be mastered, August 2021. And it's very clear. So again, someone on the street who picked up your child's IEP would understand exactly what that goal meant. And that's how goals should be written. They shouldn't be a foreign language where you're kind of like, what does that mean? Or there's 3 or 4 goals in one goal. All right. So evaluation procedures identify the method that will be used to measure the progress. All right, so determining if your child has met the objective. All right, so an evaluation procedure must provide an objective method in which the child's behavior will be measured or observed. Okay, so when you're talking about a goal in regards to behavior, there has to be a method in which it's going to be observed, kind of like an FBA. You know, that's the only thing ever you want to be observation. Okay, so you know how in a lot of IEPs, I'm sure you've seen this, and if not in your own, where it'll say teacher observation, get that the heck out of your IEP. If you want to leave it, make sure it's left with report data collection, written work, because data is something you can hold, okay, and see. You have to be able to pick it up and be able to review it yourself to come to the same conclusion that the school did. You're part of the team too. So you should be able to get a hold of that data. Again, that's your right. And you have to be able to read it to be able to know that it has then been mastered and that your child is doing this, right? So make sure that you're able to hold on to that data, okay? Data is so important. Progress is so important. Everything about the damn IEP is important, guys. I don't even know where to start. Everything's so important. So you want to make sure that, I'll just give you an example, all right? So structured observations of target behavior, for example, of a child in a class that's more self-monitoring, okay? Basically a written test, audio-visual recording, behavior charting, and work samples are good data, all right? So if it's a self-monitoring and there's an observation going on and you want data, written test, audio, visual, behavior charting, and work samples are really great data, all right, when it comes to behavior. You want information on what is the target behavior, what is the antecedent, and then what is it that is going to be done when that behavior occurs, okay? So it's kind of like the ABCs in behavior, okay? So when a BCBA goes over it, they're able to create goals, a BIP, and put a de-escalation plan in place. And then always, if your child has behavior issues, behavior needs to be in the IEP. It needs to state that there's a BIP. It needs to state that there's behaviors. It needs to state what those behaviors are, and it needs to have goals in reference to those behaviors. So if your child doesn't know how to sit still and is up and down in their seat, there needs to be a goal in reference to sitting in the seat for longer periods of time, okay? So moving on to determining the evaluation schedules to measure your child's progress. This is kind of one of the most important things in my opinion. And with my notes, you guys know I write my own notes. Evaluation schedules state the date or intervals of time by which the evaluation procedures will be used to measure the student's progress toward the objective. Okay, so evaluation schedules state the date, all right, or intervals of time by which the evaluation procedures will be used to measure their progress. All right, so an example. By March 2021, and you can say in 3 months, 4 months, not really 4 months, 4 weeks, at the end of the term, quarterly, etc. All right, so that is how it would look for a short-term objective. So in reality, it's when your progress report comes out. So if it's every 9 weeks is a grading period, if it's every 10 weeks is a grading period, that's kind of what it needs to look like. So if school starts in August, usually I will put the first short-term objective in October. The next one I will put in January. The next one I will put March. So that's how I do it. So August is the yearly. October is the first short-term objective. January is the second. March is the third. And then you're back at August. Okay? So that is how I do my own. All right? So I like having an IEP the end of August because it starts out the new year and it's just, it's flowy and fresh and just works, because if you need to schedule IEP meetings, which I highly suggest during or during the time that you know that you're going to get a progress report, because then you're able to go over. I see you guys. I'm going to answer your questions. So if you have questions, go ahead and put them down. So if you have questions, then you can ask those questions at an IEP meeting that you request every quarter. I like suggesting and explaining to you guys why you should ask for IEPs every quarter. And the reason for that is because school systems have an issues with giving data with the progress report. It's an easy sort of fix, if you will, okay? Because you schedule your IEPs October, January, March, August. Each time you go, August is your annual. Then you go in October and you talk about that progress report. All right, you guys got to figure out when you get your progress reports. You'll be able to see that because you should get a progress report every time a report card is given out. All right, and so you need to make sure that you schedule that IEP meeting. If your team is not cool, which some aren't, and you say, hey, I want to start scheduling my IEPs every quarter so that I can go over with you guys my child's goals and how things are going because I have, just concerns and it would just make me feel better. And they say, no, we don't do that. Then 35 days in advance, ask for your IEP meeting. And it has to be held within 30 days, typically. Okay? So if they say no, though, challenge that because they can't say no to an IEP. You can have an IEP as frequently as you wish. So if they say no, say, I'm confused by that because in accordance to IDEA and in accordance to the state and the statutes and the law, it says that I can have an IEP meeting whenever I want, whenever I need one. And that the annual is the mandatory one, but that I can request an IEP meeting at any time. So can you understand why you're refusing that? When you use those words, things kind of change around. All right. Are you refusing me having an IEP? I'm confused by that. Can you tell me why? And we're not refusing. We're just saying that, you'll have to just ask us in advance. We're not going to just pre-schedule it. And that's what they're going to say. I can guarantee it. Come back to me and tell me what they say. All right. Where in the IEP can we write this, having an IEP every quarter? You don't put it in your IEP. It's kind of just a agreement, and that's not something that would go in an IEP. It's not something that, is required to be in an IEP. It's just basically, hey, you want a good relationship? You want a working relationship? We're business partners, team members. You become the CEO of your IEP meeting. You are business partners. Again, you're not friends. And you need to make sure that you understand each other and, can try to have a cordial relationship. But if that's not possible, or you have to raise the bar as far as letting them know where you stand and then hopefully get that relationship semi back to where it's a working relationship, and then you have to go back to setting the bar again, then that's what you have to do. But you don't back up and not be assertive, aggressive, if you will, because you need to get things done and they're ignoring you. But what it means is that you don't want to come back to the table and say, look, I don't want to fight this all the time, but I'm willing to. And this is what I have personally said this. I don't want to fight you all the time. I just want what my child needs and what's appropriate. And if you're willing to do that and work with me, then we're going to get along perfectly. If you're not willing to work with me so that my child's needs are met in the most appropriate way, then we're going to always be at odds with one another. And I can promise you that I will win this fight. And that's what you have to say, but you got to mean it. You can't kind of say things, because schools call you out on this. You can't talk the talk and not walk the walk. All right? You can't advocate and be friends. You have to pick. All right? And I know that's tough for some people. I get it. I have the empathy for you. But I'm also a parent who has fought the fight. And I'm also a parent who has walked the walk and talked the talk. And I've been on both ends where I used to want to be friends years ago. And just didn't really know what I was doing. And I realized that the more I tried to be friends, the more I was getting screwed. And I just didn't know it. And so I would love to hear from a parent, seriously, who gets along amazing with their team. I mean, amazing. You got a great, amazing relationship. I want to hear from you. I want to bring you live to talk to all my parents. We want to know your trick. And I'm being completely honest. I would love to interview a parent that has an amazing relationship with their team and there's no problems. They've always been honest with you. Your child's consistently making progress. There's never been a huge issue. And if there's ever a hiccup, it's always fixed. And if that is you, I am sure, I'm not just speaking for myself, that many of us are just completely jealous and admirable. We admire you and whatever it is that you have done. And I say that with all due respect, because I personally would want to know that trick because I haven't learned it yet. Because it's just not the way it goes. It's not. And so I just want you guys to know that if you have to be assertive, be assertive. If you have to be a little bit aggressive with your words, then do that. But don't back down and yet go after them again, and then back down and then go after them again. They're going to call you out on that quick. So when you mean what you say, stick with it and focus on what it is that you need to do so that your child gets what they need. All right? So moving on. I see y'all's questions. I see you. We're going to talk for just a second about short-term objectives, okay? And 3 components to ensure that they can be evaluated, all right? Because we're talking about, progress and data are like this. They're like best friends, all right? You can't have progress without data, and you can't have data without progress. Or you can have data, but it's not going to really show anything. So the two go hand in hand, all right? So you make sure you tell your team, don't give me a progress report without the data. Don't even bother. Commit the procedural violation, because you're committing a violation anyway by not giving me the data. And I'm going to request the data every single time you provide me a progress report. So if you're going to provide me with a progress report, you might as well save me the time and the effort of emailing you and asking for the data. Just provide it to me, okay? But seriously, guys, in your IEP, there's an area where it says that how are you going to be provided progress reports? There should be an area somewhere in your IEP. And in that area, it'll say quarterly, etc. I have seen some IEPs where it said every year. That is not allowed. By law, progress reports have to be given as many times as children with non-disabilities are given a report card or a progress report. Okay? So that can't even be put in there. If that's there, you need to fix it. And you want to make sure that not only is that there, and it should say whenever report cards are given out, okay? Or quarterly. And then you want to make sure that it says data, okay? That has to be added. The progress report part and the time in which it's given is an automatic. If you want the data part put in there, you have to actually have them put it in there, okay? So objective criteria enables progress to be monitored and allow for determination of the point at which the objective has been accomplished, all right? So such as 95% accurate, 90% accurate, fewer than 5 times a day, 50 to 100 correct responses in a minute, 4 out of 5 trials. Oh my God, I see that one so many times. Please don't have that in your IEP, 4 out of 5 trials. Get rid of that, please, for me, because it's horrible. Anybody can do something 4 out of 5 times, and it's memorized. It's not mastered. All right. Evaluation procedures to be used are not teacher observation. No, and I know people are going to cuss me out over this one. Stop having teacher observation. Because to be quite honest, and yes, I'm an advocate that just keeps it real with you. I don't care who observes them. I don't care. I don't care what their qualifications are. I don't care what their background is. I don't care what their education is. Unless they're a BCBA and they have to go observe because of behavior, which is what they do. They do behavior. Behaviorists do behavior. And so that is the only person I would want visually observing my child. Because here's the thing. Teachers are always observing your children. They're always with them. They're always teaching. They're there. They're always observing. So why would I need in my IEP for you to tell me teacher observation? How are you going to give that to me? Are you going to give me a call once a week and tell me what you observed? Are you going to, because if you're going to do data, you got to be able to tell me how that's going to happen, because that's what should be in the IEP. So if you're going to say teacher observation, how are you going to deliver that to me? Because in all reality, you're observing my child every day, but I don't have to have that as data in my IEP. Because quite frankly, as the teacher, and you're observing my child generally every day, okay, not with this COVID thing, then why would I need to put teacher observation when that's being done daily anyway? So you can just tell me about it. And as far as data is concerned, I want written data. Okay? Report data collection. That is written collection of data. Tuesday, July 5th, 2020. Blah, 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 blah. There's your data. If you can have graphs, your data put into graphs, that's even better for the visual eye. Graphs are typically pretty easy to read in regard to data. It's a great way to transfer your data to paper from a written form in a way that is easy to understand. And so you can ask for that, because legally speaking, as the parent, it is your right to request information in regard to your child's IEP, data, progress, etc., in a way in which you understand. So it doesn't make anybody stupid by asking for data in graphical form, because that's actually pretty genius. And you're able to see your child's progress and data in a way that shows you how it's moving. Where is it going? Is it going straight up? Is it going up and then back down? Is it staying the same? It's an amazing way to really track when you start collecting papers and putting them back to back, and you staple them together and you're starting to flip through them, and you're going to see all these lines, straight lines, up lines, down lines, etc. And it's going to click a lot faster than getting, say, a daily communication sheet with maybe data written down, and it kind of gets tedious, so either ask for graphical data, or you can have written data given to you in addition with your progress reports, kind of stapled too, so that there's the goal, there's the teacher comment, and then you have the data in the back of the progress report to show the correlation of here's the goal, here's my comment, here's the report data. Done. You showed me that my child can do this. You showed me how it was done. You explained it to me and you gave me the data. Then I'm happy. If I don't get the data, I'm not happy. And I don't believe your comments and what you said because I didn't see it for myself. Another way to kind of test what's being said is test your own child. If it said that, in accordance to the progress report that your child can do 2-digit subtraction, start writing 2-digit subtraction. Test it out. Test the theory. And make sure that it's accurate. Record it for them. Play it for them in the IEP meeting. Yeah, these are really good ideas. So make sure you take these down. I have done all of these. I have even called Skylar in, which I've told you guys before, and asked her to do certain things for me while I'm in an IEP meeting. Now, of course, she did not know anything of what I was doing. I was just, hey, can you do this for mommy? But it was totally calling them out, especially if she couldn't do it, which she couldn't. So, and I knew that, which is why I called her down. The teacher had told me that she was reading on a certain level. And this was years ago. And I said, really? I said, that doesn't make any sense. I said, because I read with her and that's just not true. Yeah, she's reading and she showed me the book and she was all about, the book Skylar was reading and, showing me the book. I don't care if you showed me the book. What is the book going to tell me? You went and grabbed a book off the bookshelf. So I said, okay, can you get Skylar for me? Can you go get her? Everybody was like, what? I said, yeah, can you go get Sky for me? So they brought her down because they can't say no. It's my kid. Yeah, bring her down. So they brought her down and I said, Sky, can you do me a big favor? You see your teachers and everybody's here. We want to see you read this book because you are so smart. And so she opens the book because, of course, she wants to succeed and she wants to do well. And she tried and she couldn't read it. And so I, of course, helped her and told her she did a good job. So then I gave her a hug and she went back to class. So the teacher was mortified and immediately I laid into her because she had lied straight to my face. And this is a story from a long time ago. And from that point forward, it taught me that I had to test the waters, if you will. Test the things that are being told to me. That it wasn't a situation where, everyday situations, guys, someone can tell you something. It may be true, it may be not, right? But no harm, no foul. Well, when it comes to your child's education, there's a lot of harm there. And that's one thing you just can't play with. So you have to go above and beyond what you would normally do, because normally you probably brush it off, whatever. Okay, she lied, not cool, but whatever, right? But if that lie is in reference to your child's education, that's a big deal. And it happens a lot. And so we have to make sure that, and this isn't all the time, guys. It's not all the time. There's amazing teachers out there. It's more an administration. And that's unfortunate. But it is what it is, right? And so we have to just educate ourselves so that these things that happen don't come as a surprise. And you're aware of them. That doesn't mean you just automatically go blame, but it's just going to make you aware. Knowledge is powerful. And the more knowledge you have, the more alert you will be, and you will notice things. You will start noticing things. You'll be like, oh, Raven just told me about that. Let me ask how this is true. Test what they're saying. Ask more questions. That doesn't mean automatically call them a liar. It just means ask questions. Make sure it's 100% fact. Because at the end of the day, when 4 years have passed and your child hasn't made progress, being a little aggressive compared to not saying anything at all is worth it. Because, I was talking to some parents today and even yesterday, and one of the things that I'm hearing across the board is, the dishonesty in the things that are being said, not so much to your face. Sometimes it's over the phone of, oh, we don't do that. Or, we're not allowed to do that. Or, nope, we're not doing that. Just a straight up no. And they just continue to get away with it. So we need to just focus on our children and our children making progress. And if our kids are making progress, then we're all happy. And that's all we want at the end of the day, is our children to make progress. So moving on to some possible short-term objectives. Each objective has a number, okay, corresponding to 3 different components. And we talked about this. One is objective criteria. The next is evaluation procedures. And the third is schedules, okay? So when you are measuring progress, all right, methods and schedules to monitor it is important, as we just spoke about. All right, and while reporting progress, for example, when it's reported to you, make sure that there's a way that it can be tracked. I'll leave it at that. All right. So, present levels of performance. Okay, this is a big one. So, must it be their annual goal? No. And yes. Okay. So for each present level of performance, there must be at least one annual goal specified. All right. So what that means is in your present levels, you have strengths and weaknesses. All right. We've talked about this many times, but I'm going to repeat myself with it so that you can get a grasp on these present levels. When you look at your child's present levels, there should be strengths and weaknesses. Most present levels, unfortunately, just like goals, are typically not written in the way they should be. There's supposed to be strengths, there's supposed to be weaknesses, and it's supposed to tell a story in reference to your child and about your child. And when things are being said about your child in reference to their strengths and their weaknesses, one thing you need to look out for is when the strength, which is typically the first one that's spoken about, is being spoken about, you need to make sure that there's no negative weakness connotation associated with it. So you never want a strength to say, Benjamin's strength is in multiplication factors and doing multiplication, but struggles with 2-digit multiplication. He's either good at multiplication or he struggles with it. Which is it? So if they're going to talk about a strength, it needs to be strengths. When it comes to weaknesses, it needs to be weaknesses. Not a strength with the weaknesses, with the weakness, because they use the word but, and not a weakness with a strength. All right? And you want to make sure they stay separate. So you want to know specifically in those present levels, what are the strengths? A, B, and C. That's it. Okay? In weaknesses, what are the weaknesses? A, B, and C. Not A and B. Okay? You want a straight up answer, basically, is what I'm saying. So if Benjamin is good at multiplication, he's good at multiplication. If not, then it needs to specify that Benjamin is good at 1-digit multiplication, and then for the weakness is struggling with 2-digit multiplication, is struggling with understanding the concept of double-digit multiplication, okay? So the strength is he's really good at 2-digit, all right, or 1-digit, and then the weakness is his struggle is understanding the concepts of 2-digit multiplication. Make sense? So then the strength is left alone, or you can do a recoup goal, which is repeat the goal that has already been mastered to continue the mastery and not a loss of that goal. Because a lot of children with autism or ADHD or any other disability can lose goals that are mastered if they're not repetitive, all right? And followed up on throughout the year. So if in 2018-19, Benjamin could do 1-digit multiplication, but then it just ended because there was no follow-up. So in 2019 and 20, instead of moving on to 2-digit multiplication, they're back at 1-digit multiplication because he lost it because it wasn't followed up. So it's smart to always throw in follow-up goals from old goals that is said to be mastered and that you know for a fact have been mastered, because it keeps things fresh and it keeps the child from going two steps forwards and then 2 steps back. So always have recoup goals, all right? Measurable goals, including short-term objectives, are critical in strategic planning. Processes used to develop and implement the IEP for each child with a disability. Once the IEP team has developed the measurable and annual goals for your child, number 1, can develop strategies that will be most effective in realizing those goals. And 2, must develop whether measurable goals or intermediate steps, short-term objectives, or milestones that will enable you, the parent, and the child and the educators a way to monitor the progress, all right? And that's during the year, and if appropriate, you need to go back into an IEP meeting and revise the goals and instructional needs, which is why I suggest going in on a quarterly basis, because typically when progress reports come out, there are going to be questions. There's going to be hiccups. There's going to be things that may have been mastered and some things that are just not even started because the child is unable to do that at that time, or it just hasn't been started at all. Okay? So a strong emphasis on linking the educational program of your child's disabilities and with disabilities, and requiring that the IEP include a statement of measurable goals, including short-term objectives, related to meeting the child's needs, of course, and their disability, and enabling them to be involved in the general curriculum. All right, so these are just important kind of mandated idea verbiages in regards to goals and progress. All right, so let me ask you a question. So must the measurable annual goals, all right, whoever answers this first is awesome. Must the measurable annual goals address all areas of the general curriculum, or only those areas in which the child's involvement and progress are affected by his or her disability? If you need me to repeat it, I will. So must the measurable annual goals address all areas of the general curriculum, or only those areas in the student's involvement and progress affected by their disability? Which one? A or B? Go. Tell me the answer. All areas, should goals be in all areas or just in regard to their disability and involvement? That's right. A. All areas. Okay? All areas. Okay? Right. Good job. All right. So I got another question for you. This is kind of like a teaser. So if anybody's jumped on, make sure you share this. We're kind of doing like a trivia now. So this is going to be fun. All right. So I'm going to do some questions and answers. So if you share, you're going to go into the hat. Here, let me put this on. Look, you will go into the hat and you will earn a gift at the end of the month. All right. So I do Amazon gift cards. Gosh, I love Amazon. Amazon gift cards, Hour with Me. I do all kinds of different gifts. Okay. So share, post share below, and you will go into the hat at the end of the month. Okay. And then I want you to listen up because we're going to do a Q&A. I need you to answer me. Not me answer your questions, but you answer these questions. All right? So who wants to answer the question, what is a short-term objective? Go. This is fun. And I'm going to answer some questions while you guys answer that. What is a short-term objective? Look, what's this? Let me see. Oh, it's broke. Oh, here. Hold up. There we go. There we go. Now it's all spiffy. All right, let me make sure my hair's all right. All right, cool. Looks good, huh? Hold up. All right. Thanks, Amy. Thank you, thank you. All right, so what is a short-term objective, guys? Tell me. What is a short-term objective? Tell me, tell me. We'll do one winner here. Amy says, is Sarah will write complete sentences, a separate goal from with punctuation. Well, if you're talking about the goal that I just said, so again, answer the question, guys. The question is, what is a short-term objective? Tell me what that is in your words. And doing this and memorizing it will get you guys on point. Look, I've talked too much. Yeah, what's a short-term objective? You have an annual goal, and then you have 3 short-term objectives. What are they? What does that mean? What does a short-term objective mean? That is your question. All right. So one question I have for you guys is in reference to her question. So I'm waiting for you guys. You guys post. What is a short-term objective? So Sarah, one goal is, Amy, Sarah will write complete sentences with the correct punctuation. All right. That's one goal because that's a correct sentence. That's a complete, correct, accurate sentence. Because it can say Sarah will write a proper or an accurate sentence with the correct punctuation. That's right. It is a goal in a short amount of time. Right. So it's the same annual goal, just a lesser than the annual goal or a lesser percentage moving to that yearly goal. So like if Sarah is going to write a complete sentence with the correct punctuation in 9 out of 10 trials at 90% accuracy, within a 60-day period as measured by report data collection and written work by August 2021, then a short-term objective would be that same goal with 2 things changed: the percentage and the date. That's it. Same goal for short-term objectives. The percentage and date are the only 2 things that change. So for the first October, all right, the annual goal is August. So for the first short-term objective, it would be 60%. For the second short-term objective, and that would be by October 2020, all right? So for the second short-term objective, which would be 70% by January 2021. For the third short-term objective, it would be at 80% by March 2021. And then the year would be August at 90% by August 2021. So that is what a short-term objective looks like. All right. So next question. Can a short-term objective be changed without initiating another IEP? Yes or no? True or false? Can a short-term objective be changed without initiating an IEP meeting? Yes or no? Come on, guys. Yes or no? Can a short-term objective be changed without initiating an IEP meeting? True or false? Right. False. Okay. Right. Right. And right. All right. It cannot, Candy. It's a no. All right. So let's, I have another one for you. If something is changed, here's a question for you. If something is changed in the IEP meeting, if it is refused or approved, what must be given to you? What must be given to you if something is refused or approved or changed? What must be given to you? What is it called? Tell me what it's called. No. Data supports progress and goals. No. Yes, a PWN. That's right, guys. So a PWN has to be given to you if something is proposed, refused, or changed. Got it? All right, next question. Let me think. How long, if you request an IEP via email, within what period of time must the IEP be scheduled? So you send an email tonight. Within how long does the IEP need to be scheduled? So you need to be in that seat within how many days? Go. I want to see you guys getting these. 30 days. That's right. All right. Next question. All right. Good, good, good. All right. You guys are good. Dang. All right. So when do progress reports have to be given to you? They can be given to you anytime, but when do they have to be given to you? When is it mandatory? Every time what? You have to get a progress report. What is the answer? You guys are doing good. Come on. Okay. So quarterly and every 9 weeks are accurate, but I'm going to argue that. It is whatever or whenever your district gives out report cards. So anytime a child is given, so I always say quarterly is when progress reports go out. So maybe I should change my wording because progress reports have to be given out every time another child is given a report card. Or if your child gets report cards, then every time your child gets report cards. Okay? So that is when progress reports must be given to you. There's not a time frame that they have. Okay? So report cards are what? Are they given to your kids online? Like, I know there's online stuff now, or are they sent home? So however that is, you need to, on that day, receive your progress report. If not, it wasn't provided to you. It's late. Okay? So make sure that you get look on your district's website. It'll say when report cards are given and when progress reports are given out. And progress reports and report cards coincide with each other. Like in Virginia, it's every 9 weeks. So look on your district's website. It may be 9 weeks. It may be 8 weeks, 10 weeks, 11 weeks. The most I've seen is like 12. All right. All right. Let's do another question. What is progress's sister? You guys are probably like, what? What goes hand in hand with progress? What must accompany progress? They date. They are together, solely together. They can never break up. Go. What is progress's sister? Best friend, girlfriend, whatever you want to call it. They go together. If progress is given, then what has to follow it up? Tell me. Data. That's right. Okay. So, trying to think of more questions. All right. Right. That's right. Data. Good, good, good. Yes. All right. What is it that I've said that during, that's right, data. What is it that I've said that during virtual learning, children will not receive? There's no way they can receive what? What have I said? Can you think of it? I'll give you a tip. It starts with an F. The word will not be provided, and it's mandatory. Right. And what letter in FAPE will not be provided during virtual learning? What letter? The F, A, P, or E? Right. And what letter of FAPE will not be provided during virtual learning? What letter? That's right. What must be in your child's PLAF, their present levels of academic achievement and functional performance? What's one thing, there's several things, but what's one thing that must be in the present levels? So what's one thing that must be in your child's present level? Go on. What strengths? That's right. All right. So let me ask you I'll ask you one more question. Trying to think. Goals? No. Yes. Strengths. All right. Trying to think of another question. Okay. Here's one. Who is required to be at your child's IEP meeting? Name who is required to be at your child's IEP meeting. Go. So again, who is required to be at your child's IEP meeting? What's a BBC? No, I want everybody, not just one person. I want everybody. Teacher, parent, admin. No. I need specifics. No service providers are required at your IEP. Nope, not what I'm looking for. Who is required to be at your child's IEP meeting? Who? No. All right, I'm going to give you that one. The gen ed teacher, the special ed teacher, someone from the administration office who is going to be the representative, the decision maker. Okay? And that's it. You. Okay? So gen ed, special ed, decision maker, yourself. That's it. Service providers are not, that's right, gen ed, special ed, parent, district rep. That's it. Service providers are in fact not required to be at your child's IEP meeting unless, say your child is nonverbal and speech is their biggest issue, their IEP is created off of that verbal language. All right? Come in, Sky.
Do you watch my here, please?
I'll be in there in just a second, okay? All right. So,
Mom, on live.
yes.
I'll talk to you later.
Okay. So, yeah, it is fun. So if your child and their IEP is created off of speech and a speech impediment and their disability is under speech and that sort of thing, then at that time, then a speech therapist would then be required to be there because that is the sole purpose of their IEP. So when a service provider is in a position to where their job is specific to that child's disability and how that disability is affecting them in the educational setting, then at that time they're required to be there. But if your child is just in, like my child, in speech or OT and that sort of thing, then just because they're in that service because it is needed does not require the service providers to be there. Yeah, she's sweet. She'll say, "Are you going live, Mom? Are you live? Okay, I'll talk to you later." So yes, that is the response to that. All right. And I learned that when I tried to make a state complaint a while back, forever ago, it seems like, and said, the service providers weren't at my IEP meeting. And they are not required to. And that's in state and federal law. So yeah, so we'll do this again. All right. This was fun. All right. So somebody, one of my oldies but goodies, if you want to share this video with a, what is it called? A watch party or something. Will you share it onto the group for me at Autism Mama Rocks IEP group and just share this video in a watch party over on the group? I would greatly appreciate it. So we will start doing, I'm going to do a live with my, I'm going to start doing lives with my group on Friday. And I do lives on Tuesdays, questions and answers with my group. I did not last night because I was in mediation from 9 a.m. to 11:30 p.m. Kill me now. That was very stressful, and but it's over. And I woke up with a horrible headache because I was just completely beat the heck up. But it's over, and I'm happy, and it's good. So that was a lot of fun. Let's do it again. I'll do it again over on the group on Friday. And tomorrow we will be doing a live content. I do want to let you guys know that I am going to keep going live here on the page, but I am going to start doing more over on my group now that my group is pretty big. I'm almost at like 5,000 people now in 7-8 months. So it's kind of crazy how much it's growing. And so I really want to nurture and love on my group members. So if you're not part of the group, type in the search section Autism Mama Rocks IEP group and join the group. I'm still going to be here on the page, but I'm going to be giving more of my time and attention to the group. Okay. And I'm going to be changing up some postings to go more towards the group. And I'm still going to do stuff here, but I just want you to know that I want people to start transferring over to the group because that's going to be more of where I'm going to be. Okay. And I will make an announcement when I am going to be streaming on YouTube and Instagram. My assistant is putting all my videos on YouTube as we speak, and we're going to get them all together, and then I'm going to start streaming on YouTube. So if you want to start liking me there, and then I'll let you know when I am going to be streaming there. But start liking me there, so click on the notifications, all that kind of stuff. So if for some reason you miss me telling you, you will already have notifications clicked. And make sure you click notifications above here so you know when I go live. And click it over on the group. I know it's a lot to remember. Just click notifications, okay, on everything. And then you'll know. All right. Oh, thank you, Kim. I appreciate it. You're welcome, Candy. I'm glad you're learning a lot, and I appreciate all you guys. I think I answered all the questions that were kind of posted. Yeah, this was super fun, guys. I had fun. This was cool. I can still get the school district to get my child's initial evaluation. Asked for it back in April. Still nothing because of COVID. Already have his diagnosis and recommendations. I'm at a loss. Well, Congress actually, and OSEP actually put out a notice that because of COVID and everything that's going on, that parents are actually allowed to go ahead and get IEEs because schools are unable to do the evaluations, and evaluations have to be done so that schools know the child's present levels, because nobody knows that right now other than you, and that is an issue. So yeah, so that's a big issue. So you need to address your school, you need to email them, and you need to state that OSEP has stated that IEEs should be given to all children because of COVID and the fact that school systems are unable to just provide it to every single child. They don't have enough staff to even do that. So they're ignoring parents and not wanting to address it because they're in a bind, and they're supposed to be giving IEEs because they're unable to meet everybody's needs. And you're allowed, because of COVID, to ask for the IEE instead of the school doing the evaluation, unless they can. And just remember, after the school does an evaluation, you can ask for an IEE anyway. So don't worry about that. So if the school offers and you ask for the evaluation, make sure you ask for the right evaluations, and make sure that you focus on the important stuff. And then if they are ignoring you and not paying attention, you need to send an aggressive email, and you need to address the fact that OSEP has said that IEEs are supposed to be given. So make sure you guys share this video and have a good evening, okay? I will see you guys tomorrow night. And I may go live a little earlier tomorrow. I'm not sure. I may do evening. I don't know. What do you guys like better? I kind of like during the day too. But yeah, you'll have to let me know what you guys like. But I will talk to you guys soon. This was a lot of fun, guys. So thanks for joining me. I'll talk to you guys soon.